Welcome to this summary of the 7th to the 9th Adhyaya of Sri Bhagavad Gita. We start with the gratitude to the Lord, with whose grace everything is possible. We pray our respects and tributes to the Guru Parampara, through which this knowledge is preserved, protected and transmitted to generations. Pay my respects to my Guruji, Pujya Guruma, with whose grace I am able to learn the scriptures and share this understanding with you. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Punaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is divided, the 18 Adhyayas are divided into 3 categories, though these are not very strict compartments, but predominantly the first 6 chapters of the Adhyayas are devoted towards the inquiry of the Jiva, the Tvam Padartha, which can also be understood as Aham Padartha when we talk about the Jiva, and the Sadhak when we discuss it, when he contemplates about himself, it is his Shodhana, means it is his journey to identify who am I really. So that is the first 6 Padartha, where the main subject matter is karma. But apart from karma, there are many subject matters that, as we have already seen, in the second Adhyaya, Jnana has been described vividly. The goal of the human existence has been described, and then how to achieve this, how to understand this, how to put it into life, how to purify ourselves, that is being described in the Karma Yoga. And then Jnana, Karma Sannyasa and the Karma Sannyasa, and then Atma Sanyama Yoga. So all these 6 Adhyayas mainly devote towards our understanding of our worldly life, how we need to live this life, who am I, and that is the main subject matter. As we start the 7th Adhyaya, there is a complete turn in what Lord wants to tell us. And if we see the last shloka of the 6th Adhyaya also, Lord says that we need to devote to Him, Bhakti. And the 7th Adhyaya onwards, the Ishvara Tattva, the Tat Padartha Shodhana. Who is Ishvara? What is the Lord? What are His Swarupa? How can I understand Him? How can I see Him? How can I relate to Him? How can I connect with Him? And this is what is the Bhakti Padartha. So, Brahma is the Paramarthik Swarupa, Ishvara, and then Bhagavana, as we understand how we can connect with Him. So it is more, with the Bhakti, how we can do this devotion with the Lord, how we can connect with the Lord, how we can love the Lord. So these are all the subject matters of the 7th to the 12th Adhyaya. And then from the 13th onwards, Adhyaya to the 18th Adhyaya, the Aikya Jnana, the Asi part. Tat Tvam Asi is the Mahavakya of the Upanishada. The Tvam is 1st to 6th, Tat is 7 to 12, and Asi, the Aikya Jnana, the oneness between everything, the Jiva, Jagata and the Ishvara. All this is signified in the 13th to the 18th Adhyaya. Aham Brahma Asmi. Aham is the 1st to 6th Padartha, 1st to 6 chapters. Brahma is 7 to 12, and Asmi is the final 6 chapters. So this is mainly the Jnana Pradhana, how we can assimilate this knowledge. But of course, there is a lot of knowledge, Jnana, Vijnana, Yoga in the 7th Adhyaya. All this is already there. So we need to have some clarity of what is the goal of our human life and how we can achieve this goal. So this, what is called as the Sadhya Sadhana Viveka, is a very fundamental thing in our spiritual Adhyatmic life, where we need to know what is our goal, where we have to reach. Because only if we know the goal, we know whether our direction is the correct one or not. And then Guru and our Shastras tell us what are the ways we can reach this goal, and we have to embark on this journey, which is called the spiritual journey or the Adhyatmic Yatra. The goal, sadhya, is to achieve the knowledge, Brahma Jnana or Atma Jnana, which is the knowledge of the Adhyatma, the spiritual knowledge, where we understand that Jiva and Ishvara is one, and this is denoted by the Mahavakyas of Upanishads, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi. But before we reach the goal, the first step or the first goal is to develop Antakarana Shuddhi, which is the initial goal, this purity of the mind is very, very important because it makes us the adhikari or eligible for obtaining or attaining or understanding this Atma Jnana. That's why for any type of Jnana Shuddhi, the Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti is the adhikaritva, which is the Shama, Dhamma, Titiksha, Uparati, Shraddha, Samadhana. All these cause purity, the karma, bhakti, all these causes the Antakarana Shuddhi, which nullifies our Raga Dvesha and makes us eligible for this Atma Jnana. So these sadhanas, the Karma Yoga, the Bhakti Yoga and the Jnana Yoga are all the sadhanas to attain the divinity, to attain the Lord, to attain the Atma, to attain the Brahma. So this is how is our journey. So 7th Adhyaya starts with the Jnana Vijnana Yoga. The 8th Adhyaya is the Akshar Brahma Yoga, which denotes the Supreme Divinity. And the 9th Adhyaya is again same Jnana, which is also called the Raja Vidya, Raja Purya Yoga. So it's the same knowledge that Lord is talking about. So let us understand what Bhagavan is trying to tell us. What are the different manifestations of the Ishvara, their Swarupa. Normally we understand God as somebody in some form, some name, in some avatara, some incarnation, with either as Rama, Vishnu, Krishna, Shiva, Brahma, Devi, Ganesha. All these are the different manifestations of God, and this is how we understand the Lord, we devote to the Lord and we relate to the Lord. Further on, we need to try and understand that God is not just in this form and name, but is also Ishvara, is the Nimitta and the Upadana Karana of this universe, and that same Lord is residing in each one of us as Antaryami, who inspires us, drives us, helps us always. The God can also manifest in these world as Vibhutis or Virata Swarupa or as a Vishwarupa Darshana. And this glory and this grace of the Lord is also to be seen. And finally, the Paramarthik Swarupa of Bhagavan is the Nirgun Nirakar Swarupa, which is the formless, which is called the Chaitanya or the Atma Swarupa. And this Atma, which is seen as an individual spirit, is one with the universal consciousness, which is one with this Brahma, and that is the same soul. There is no different souls in different people. There is just one soul which pervades everything, and this consciousness, which is our own Atma Swarupa, is called Sat, Chit and Ananda. And with this, if we connect and we see everyone as being spiritual beings rather than physical beings, then we can understand the oneness within all the beings. And so this is the final understanding that we have to reach. And this is only possible with devotion or bhakti. And bhakti is nothing but a lot of love for the Lord. For the person with whom we will love, we will definitely remember them, connect with them. And along with love, there has to be a lot of respect and reverence for the Lord. So this is called bhakti, and the base or the foundation of this bhakti is the faith in the Lord. Only if there is a faith in the Lord, then we can develop this love with the reverence in the Lord. And the main benefit of having this kind of bhakti is that it will lead us, help us to liberate ourselves, to lead us to the Jnana, Atma Jnana finally, and to become one with the divinity. That is the final goal for all of us. So let us start with the 7th Adhyaya, the Jnana Vijnana Yoga. The initial shlokas talk about the Jnana, Vijnana and the Prakriti, the two types of Prakriti, the Apara and the Para Prakriti, which Lord describes. He says this all comes from me. And then briefly 4 shlokas, he describes the different vibhutis of the Lord, how we can see God everywhere. But we have to start somewhere. So we see God somewhere, and then from there we take it on and try to see God everywhere. Then he describes about his own Brahmashraya Maya and how through Maya he creates his universe, and because of the Maya all the beings come into Moha. And what is this Asuri Bhav? People who do not pray to him. And he also describes the 4 types of his devotees. And then he describes the differences between the devotion to different devtas and devotion to the Lord or the Supreme Lord, the Ishvara, who is the Karma Phala Data, and how the fruits, the benefits are different. And finally he describes his true Atma Swarupa, his Bhagwan ka jo Paramatik Swarupa, and why people don't know him, why he is not being seen, what are those obstacles within us which don't allow us to visualize the Lord even though he is present everywhere. So that is the final culmination of this 7th Adhyaya. So the first shloka, let us see what Bhagwan says in the first shloka itself. Bhagwan says about devotion, bhakti. He says, Mai asakta mana partha yogam yunjan madashraya. Mad ashraya and yogam yunjan. He says, talks about three things which are important. First is, attach your mind into me, Mai asakta mana. And mad ashraya means surrender to me. And keep on doing your yoga sadhana, your spiritual journey, karma, bhakti, and all these shuddha, sattvic, daivi, sampatti. And he says, asanshayam samagram mam yatha yasyasi tachrunu. Listen to this, Arjuna. There is no doubt that you will know me completely from all the aspects if you attach your mind to me. Essentially, it means that if we detach ourselves from this world, only then we can attach to the Lord. And if we want to attach to the Lord, we have to detach this world. Some kind of vairagya has to develop from this world for us to attach towards the Lord. And that is how Lord starts this adhyaya. And then he says, Jnanam teham savijnanam vakshyama sheshata. It talks about the supreme knowledge. This is the Atma Gnana, the Brahma Gnana. And he says, I shall tell you this Gnana, this Atma Gnana, this Brahma Gnana, along with Vijnana. Vijnana means that this Gnana becomes assimilated within us and it helps us to realize our own self. And this assimilation, Atma Sadhak, jisko kehte hain, that helps us to live life with this knowledge. So this, he says, asheshataha, in totality, I'll tell you about this Gnana and Vijnana. He says, yajnatva, after knowing which, neha, bhuyonyata, gnatavya avashishyate. There is nothing more to be known in this world. He says, this is the highest knowledge. Once you know this knowledge, there is nothing more you need to know in this world. And then he shows the rarity of this Atma Gnana, this self-knowledge, why very few people are able to understand. He says, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yadati siddhaye. Out of thousands of human beings who make efforts to reach this goal, he says, Yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam vetti tatvata. And out of thousands who make efforts, only a very few rare people know me in reality. So this itself is a rare thing, and this knowledge everybody, and that's why it is called Guhya Gnana, Raja Guhya Gnana. So that is what is said. Next shloka, 2 shlokas, Lord describes his own Prakriti. In the first shloka he says, this is my Ashtada Prakriti, Apara Prakriti, the lower Prakriti. And he says, Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu Kham. So the 5 main Pancha Mahabhut, the 5 great elements or the 5 basic elements through which everything comes into existence, the earth, water, fire, air and space. He says, and then he says, Mano Buddhi Revacha Ahankara. And the mind, intellect and the ego, the 3 more Sukshma Sharira, which forms our Sukshma Sharira. So this, he says, Pancha Mahabhut and the Sukshma Sharira, the Stula and the Sukshma, all these forms my Me Bhinna Prakriti Ashtata. So this is my 8th part of the Prakriti. He says, this is my Apara Prakriti, the lower Prakriti of the nature. He says, and then in the next shloka he says, Apareyam Itam Stvanyam. Another Prakriti, apart from this, Prakriti Vidhi Me Param, you know my higher Prakriti. He says, Jiva Bhutam Mahabaho. Jiva Bhuta, the Jiva part. The Jiva means the Chetan part, which is the Yayedam Dharyate Jagata, which is the foundation of this universe. So you know this is the Para Prakriti, this is the higher Prakriti, and both of these, the Jada Prakriti and the Chetan Prakriti together forms the entire manifestation. It says, and this is the foundation, the Chetan is the foundation of the Jada Prakriti. It's only because of the Chetan that the Jad is seen as living. Whatever we see that the body is moving is all because of the Chaitanya Tattva. So this understanding God gives us. And then he says that the entire universe, etadyo nini bhutani, sarvani tyupadharaya. All these material cause that you see in this world is the Lord itself. He says all the beings are born from my womb. So he is the father and the mother of everyone. Aham krutsnasya jagatah prabhava pralayastata. And I am the cause for the origin and the dissolution of the entire universe, he says. So all the beings are also born through him, and the earth, the universe, everything is born through him, and at the Pralaya Kala, everything merges or dissolves into him. So he is the Upadana Karana, and he is the Nimitta Karana of the Jiva and the Jagata. That's what he says. There is a Karya Karana Sambandha which is showing us, and ultimately we have to understand that in all the Karya, the Karana is always there. They say from the clay, when a pot is made, in all aspects of the pot, the clay is already there. The pot is only Vacharampanam. It is only what we say, we see, and we see this shape and identify as the pot. Otherwise, it's all made up of the clay. Similarly, whatever comes from the Lord is all the Lord itself, and it's only that we give names and to these different forms and shapes that we see in this universe. So that is the understanding that we need to develop. And in the 7th shloka, he gives his Paramarthik Swarupa, how he resides in this earth, in this universe, and how we should be seeing him here. He says, Matta Parataram Nanyat Kinchidat Dastati Dhananjaya. Oh Dhananjaya, oh Arjun, there is nothing more than me to be known. He says, Mai Sarvam Idam Protam Sutre Manigana Iva. All these that you see here, Sarvam Idam Protam, whatever seen, the subtle world, the Panchamahabhut, the Sukshma Sharir, Sthula Sharir, whatever you see, everything, he says, is woven in me. Sutra, Protam, everything is Ota-Prota, or it's all woven in me. How? He says, Tutre Manigana Iva. Just like all the beads are woven in a string. And that is how he gives this beautiful simile, which helps us to understand how we can see the Lord behind this beautiful creation of all the different names, forms, where our vision is always on these name forms, and that's how we see this beauty. But beyond this, we don't see that thread which binds all these names and forms, which is the foundation of this universe. And that's why what needs to be done is to change our own vision. We cannot change what is outside, but we can only change our own vision to see that, try to see that thread behind all those names and forms which appear beautiful, which are very attractive. We have to try and just, get away from these names and forms to see behind what is hidden behind. The Lord himself is there as part of his manifestation. In the next 4 shlokas, he describes his vibhutis in short. Of course, the Vibhuti Darshan is more detailed in the 10th Adhyaya of Sri Gita Ji. But here in the 7th Adhyaya, from the 8th shloka, he says how you can see I am everywhere. He says, we have to start from seeing the Lord at least somewhere, and then only we can go and try to see the Lord everywhere. So he says, Raso Hamapsu Kaunteya. Oh Arjuna, I am the test in the water. Prabhasmi Sashi Suryayo. In the sun and the moon, I am the glow. Prabha Asmi. It says, Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. I am Omkara in all the Vedas. He says, Shabda K. In the space, I am the words, and Paurusham Nushu. In the humans, I am the power of their efforts, Purusha, Purushartha, that efforts, what he does, I am that part of that effort. So, essentially, how we can see the Vibhuti Nirupana or the Vibhuti Darshana is essentially to try to see God somewhere. So, from there, we can start and see the God everywhere. We can develop this Sarvatra Bhagavata Bhava, essentially Atma Bhava, and then Sarvatma Bhava, and then this can only lead to the Sarvatma Jnana, the Sarvatma Bodha, that God is everywhere, there is only one Chaitanya. That understanding we can lead to. The next shloka, he says, Punyo Gandha Pruthivyamcha. I am the pious smell in this earth. He says, Teja Shasmi Vibhavasav, and I am the light of the fire. Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu. I am the life force, the prana of all the beings. Tapaschasmi Tapashvisu. And I am the penance of all the ascetics. So it's basically we need to try to see God everywhere. Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam. Know me always that I am the source of all the beings. Viddhi Partha Sanatanam. I am the intellect. Buddhi Matamasmi. I am the intellect of all the intelligent people. Tejas Vinamaham. And I am the glory behind all the brilliant people that you see. So God is trying to tell us that we should not boast of our brilliance, our glory, our intelligence. All this comes from the Lord. He is the seed, we are the tree. He is like a seed, he is saying, is the source from which everything comes into existence. And all the power, energy or radiance or brilliance or whatever we see in this world, anywhere, from all the successful people, the victorious people, It's all the glory is of the Lord. We should not have the pride of our own qualities. We should think that we are all the instruments in the hand of the Lord, through which the Lord manifests and does whatever He wants us to do, which is the destiny. Balam balavatam chaham. I am the strength of the strong people. But which kind of strong people? Kamaraja vivarjitam. Kamaraga vivarjitam. People who don't have any devoid of desires and attachments. Essentially, the strength can be used for multiple reasons, to even pressurize people, weak people. But that Lord is not saying that He is that kind of a strength. But He is that kind of strength which is devoid any desires or powers, or which is devoid any attachments. And then He says, Dharma viruddha bhuteshu. So that kind of, I am the desire of the people, Kamosmi, Bharatarshava, who are Dharma aviruddha bhuteshu. Those people who are on the righteous path, they are on the path of Dharma, they are on the path of self-upliftment and helping others. So from this kind of, Lord is telling us that He is the kind of the power or energy in these kind of people. And all this, He says, Ye chaiva sattvika bhava, all these worldly objects that you see, Rajasastastamachaye, that is comprising of three gunas, the Sattvika, Rajasika and the Tamasika. It says, Matta eveti tanvitti. But know that everything, all these arises from me. All these three gunas, Gunatmik Jagata, He says, but I am not in them. I am alipta, I am completely separate. He says from His Atma Swarupa that I am the Karta of all these Trigunatmik Jagata, but I am not present in it. I am the Akarta Swarupa. They are all dependent on me. I am not dependent on them for their existence. That is what Lord is trying to tell us. And then He says, Tribhena Gunamayihi Bhavaihi Ebi Sarvamidam Jagata. He says, in this world, which is made up of three gunas, all the beings, Mohitam, they are all deluded. They all have moha. Na abhijanati mamebhya param avyayam. He says, they don't know my real Swarupa. I am Avyaya, Param, Avyayam. I am eternal, changeless, indestructible. He gives his Paramarthik Swarupa and says, people don't know me as I am present as unmanifest in this. And then He says how He creates this universe. Even if He is unborn, eternal, indestructible, then how does He create this universe which is Trigunatmika? And then He gives this answer. He says, it's because of my Maya. He says, Daivi Yesha. This Maya which is Daivi, which is Ashrita to the Lord, which is God's own Maya. He says Gunamai, which is consisting of three gunas. And He says Mama Maya, which is my own, created by the Lord, which is under the control, under the power of the Lord, which is Duratyaya. He says it is very difficult to understand and very difficult to overcome. And then in the next line He gives the solution, how this Maya can be understood, it can be overcome, though it is difficult. He says, Mameva ye prapadyante Maya metam tarantite. Those one who comes to my shelter, He says, gets across this Maya, this Sansara. And it is an analogy very similar to the fisherman's net. When a fisherman is laying his net in the ocean, most of the fishes which come under the net get crossed, but the fish which is at the feet of the fisherman, he escapes from this net. Similarly, all the jivas are in the Maya, under this net of Maya and Moha, which is also called a kind of a bandhana. But one who comes to the shelter of the Lord, one is at the feet of the Lord, devotes to the Lord, he gets across his Maya, he is saved from the Sansara Chakra bondage and he is liberated. So that is the analogy that Lord gives. And then He says, those people who do not take my shelter, this kind of Mudha people, He says, Namam Dushkrutino. Dushkrutinaha, those who are involved in unrighteous activities, those who do adharma. Mudha, those who are deluded with Moha, Maya, they are completely engrossed. They don't know what is the reality of this universe. Naradhamaha, those who live a kind of an animal life, it does not befit a human being. Maya apayata grana, those whose intellect is hidden by Maya, it is completely deluded. They don't know what is the truth and what is the wrong. They are aviveka. And asuram bhavam ashritaha, those who take shelter of negative emotions. These are the people, He says, that they are not able to achieve, they are not able to take my shelter, they are not able to come to my shelter, they don't get any benefit. And that's why we have to try and overcome all these obstacles in our life. In our mind, there are two types of vrittis, the Daivi, Sampatti and the Asuri vrittis. We have to try, and this is a battle which goes on constantly, and we have to try to see that the Daivi vrittis or the Daivi Sampattis overpower the Asuri Sampattis, and we try and go to the mercy of the Lord who will be liberating us. And then in the next shloka he says, these are the 4 types of devotees who worship me. And he says, which Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukruti norjuna. These are the 4 types of people who pray to me. These are the people who are Sukruti Jana. Sukruti Jana means they are on the righteous path. They are on the path which is being described by the Dharma or the Shastra, which will cause Punya. And he says Artha. Artha, he says, to the people who are in pain. They normally don't remember the Lord, but when they are in pain or they get some miseries because of some disease, because of some physical ailments, because of old age, death, they will try and remember the Lord. Even though they remember the Lord only in pain and misery, Lord is so, giant-hearted that he says, these are my devotees. The second ones are the Artharthis. The Arthi means those who always desire some objects in this world. They want always some position, some respect, some fame, some glory, some name, wealth, prosperity, whatever. Everything they want, they have a lot of desires to be fulfilled in this world. But even then, Lord says that these are my devotees. Even for these kind of prosperities, they remember the Lord and pray to the Lord. The third, still better are Jignasus, whose desire is only to know the truth. But still they have a desire. But their desire is to have this kind of Atma-Jnana, knowledge. And these are the people who are Jignasus. But the Gnani are the, Lord is going to say that he is the 4th type of the devotee, who is the wise, who is enlightened, who has already had this Atma-Jnana, he is Nishkama, he is selfless, he is very Sahaja, he is Nishprayojana, his bhakti, his devotion, his connection to the Lord is without any purpose. There is nothing for him to obtain, there is nothing, desires are not left, and that's why his vritti, his pravritti is very, very Sahaja. It's very effortless. And Lord, then the next shloka says, out of all these 4 devotees, Tesham Gnani Nitya Yukta Eka Bhaktir Vishishyate. He says Gnani Bhakta is the best out of all these 4. He is very special to me. Why? Because he is Eka Bhaktir Vishishyate. He is constantly connected to me, one, and his devotion is also to one. He is Nitya Yukta. He is completely having a good self-control over his mind. Priyo hi Gnani no Atyartham Aham Sacham Mama Priyaha. He says, the wise loves me very much, and that's why he is also very dear to me. Lord himself, in a lot of Shastras in Bhagavatam, and there are a lot of Bhakta, their Katha, how Lord helps them. He goes out of the way to help his Bhaktas, the Gajendra Katha, the Ajamil Katha. A lot of Kathas are there in the Gopis and all there, how Lord goes out of the way to help these devotees, and that's why we should try also to become a full-time devotee. In the next slok, Bhagavan says, Udara Sarva Evaite. So, out of all these 4 devotees, they are all noble. Gnani Twatmeva Mevatam. The Gnani is the dearest to me, that is my opinion. He says, why? Because he says, Asthita Sahi Yuktatma Mameva Anuttamam Gatim. He has a very good self-control, he is Yuktatma, and Mameva Anuttamam Gatim. He is firmly established in my supreme self. He is selfless, he has the highest form of love. And that is what Lord loves. And then Lord describes that this wise person, this Gnani, it is not very easy. How he becomes Gnani, he says, Bahunam Janmanamante, Gnanavan Mam Prapadyante. To be enlightened and wise, it takes, he says, many, many births. After many births of spiritual practice, this Gnani achieves me. And what is his Gnana? What is his understanding? He says, Vasudevam Sarvamiti. Everything is God. Everything, all is pervaded by the Lord. That is his firm knowledge, understanding. He says, Sa Mahatma Sadurlabha. Such a kind of a person is very rare. And Bhagavan says he is a Mahatma, is a great being, and is a very Durlabha, is very rare for a person to reach to this kind of a knowledge. That is what Bhagavan says. And why is it difficult to, to understand the God in this way? He says, Kama istais Virta Gnana Prapadyante Anya Devata. Because though I am everywhere, people don't know me. Bhagavan says, because of their own incessant desires. We all have a lot of desires in the worldly objects. And this, what keeps us self-knowledge, the Atma-Jnana, Vrita-Jnana, he says, is hidden. It is hidden. It is not clearly seen. And that's how we do prayers to many other devatas to fulfill our desires. Prapadyante anya devata. Tam tam niyamamastaya prakrutya niyatasvaya. According to our own nature and according to following many rituals and rules. Niyama asthaya. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha. We worship several devatas. Shraddhaya architum michati. It says with the faith for fulfilling our desires. Tasya tasyam chalam shraddham. Tameva vidadhamyaham. He says, what I do is I strengthen their faith. Whenever they are worshipping any devatas for fulfilling their desires, I am the person who gives them the desired fruits. They don't understand that I am giving the fruits. They think that devata is giving the fruits. But ultimately, Ishvara is the karma phala data. Whatever we desire, whoever is the giver is the karma phala data, is the Ishvara. Sataya shraddhaya yuktaha tatsya radhana mihate labate cha tatah kaman mayeva diktan. He says, with faith, all these people worship different devatas. Those devatas fulfill their desires, but I am the person who gives them the fruits of the desires. I am the karma phala data. And then he shows the difference between, what is the difference in the fruits between worshipping the different devatas and the Ishvara. Antavattu phalam tesham tad bhavatyah alpamedasam. He says, those with less intellect, alpamedasam, they get very limited fruits. Antavattu phalam. And those who devan devayajo yanti mad bhakta yanti mamapi. Those who worship other devatas, they attain them. Whereas somebody who worships me, mad bhakta yanti mam api. They worship me, they attain me, which is Lord, of course, is unlimited happiness, liberation, peace and freedom. So that is what shows us. And then he shows his real self. He says, Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyate mam abuddhaya. Abuddhaya means those people who have very limited intellect. Almost like abuddhaya means no intellect, but God has given samanya buddhi to everyone. Abuddhaya means very limited intellect to see the subtle things. Though I am, he says, avyaktam, I am unmanifest. They believe I am vyaktim apannam. They believe I have a form. They believe I am the Lord who is incarnated in the body with a name and a form. And he says, param bhavama ajananto. They don't know my real swarupa, my real essence, param bhava, which is mama avyayam anuttamam. I am changeless, I am eternal, I am indestructible, and I am the highest form. I am Chaitanya, I am Atma Swarupa. They don't understand this and they feel that I have come in a name and a form, in a body. That is what they understand. And then he says, how Arjuna may have thought that how can I know you and why is it that people don't understand you? Bhagavan says, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavruta. I don't manifest to all, he says. Why? Because I am hidden by my Yogamaya. Yogamaya Samavruta. Mudhoyam na abhijanati. The people who are deluded, those who are in mood, Purusha, they don't know me. Mama ajam avyayam. I am eternal, I am indestructible. So he makes it very clear that he is eternal, he is indestructible, he is not born, he is ajam, he is neither born, he is neither avyaya, he is indestructible, he is changeless, and this tattva can only be nirguna tattva. No saguna tattva can be changeless, eternal, indestructible. And this is what Lord himself is saying, I am nirguna, nirakar, paramatma, I am Atma Swarupa, I am Brahma Swarupa, this is my real Atma Swarupa. The people don't know me in this Swarupa because I am hidden by Yoga Maya, my own powers, he says. And God himself says, what is he? He says, Vedaham samati tani vartamanani charjuna. O Arjuna, I am the knower of all these Vedas and the past, present and the bhavishyani cha bhutani. I am the knower of the past, present and future of all these beings, he says. But what he says is, Mam tu vedana kashchana. But these people, everybody, all these beings, they don't know me. I know everything about everyone, he says. But people don't know me, they don't know my Atma Swarupa. Mam tu vedana kashchana. Nobody understands me, nobody knows me completely, he says. And why is that so? Why Jiva don't know me? What are the obstacles in the path of the Jiva? He says, Ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata. Because of these desires, Ichha, the hatred, the dvesha, raga, dvesha, the strong likes and dislikes that we all have. Why are they created? Because of the dvandva mohena bharata. Because of these dvandva, the delusions, which are the duality of this world, which creates the moha, the delusion. And O Arjuna, because of all the sarva bhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. All these people, all these beings are deluded since the sammoha sargeyanti, since the origin of their life, since the origin of this universe. Everybody is deluded and they're all born with this moha. What can I do about it? They have to get rid of their moha by their own understanding. That is what Lord is trying to tell us. And who is eligible to worship Him firmly? Bhagwan batate hai, yesham tvantagata papam. Those who have sins have ended, jananam punya karmanam. These people who have done punya karma, virtuous actions, te dvandva moha nirmukta. Those who have destroyed the delusion or moha created by the dualities of this world. Those are the people, bhajante mam pradah prataha. Those are the people who worship me with firm affirmation, with a firm resolve. And those are the people, so we have to embark. If we want to embark on this yatra, this is what we need to do first. And finally, he comes to the end of this adhyaya. He says, Jara marana mokshaya mama shritya yatantite. Those people who keep making efforts to deliver from their fears of the old age, death, and those who come to my shelter, those are the people who understand me. They understand my Brahma Swarupa. They Brahma Tad Viduhu Krutsnam Adhyatmam. They understand there is a substratum of this Jiva, and they say Karma Chakilam. They understand the essence of all these actions. They know the one tattva behind this Jiva, Jagata and the Ishvara. And finally, and this is the basis of the 8th Adhyaya, the 7 questions of Arjuna. It says, Sadhi Bhuta Adi Daivam Mam Sadhi Yagnam Chaye Viduhu. So, they understand, know me as the cause of the seen world, the Stula Jagata, Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva, substratum of the Devata, the Sukshma Jagata, and Adi Yagna as a source of all the Yagna, Karma Phala Dhata, and finally Prayana Kale Apicha Mam Devidu Yukta Chetasa. Even while at the time of their death, an accomplished mind will know me because they understand me, they remember me, they contemplate on me at the time of their death. So with this we come to the end of the 7th Adhyaya and we start the summary of the 8th Adhyaya. The 8th Adhyaya is the Akshara Brahma Yoga. It starts with the 7 questions of Arjuna, and the subjects are Brahma, Karma, Adhyatma and all the other things that the last 2 shlokas of the 7th Adhyaya, Bhagavan said to Arjuna some new words, Adidaiva, Adiyagna, Adibhuta, and all these Arjuna wants to know what all this is. And then finally Lord Krishna talks about the Bhakti Yoga, and in the end he shows the 2 paths, the onward journey after death, the Shukla Marg and the Krishna Marg, the north ascendant part and the south pole part. So these are he starts with this Adhyaya, Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna starts his Adhyaya with his 7 questions in 2 shlokas. It says, Oh great Purushottama, the greatest among humans, Kim Tat Brahma. What is this Brahma? What is this Adhyatma that you are talking? What is this Karma? What is Adibhuta? What is Adidaiva? And then in the next shloka he says, what is this Adi Yagna you are talking about, and how can anybody, all the devotees, any devotees know you at the time of death? How is it possible that at the time of death you can be known? So these are the 7 questions of Arjuna which Lord starts answering from the 3rd shloka of the 8th Adhyaya. According to what Arjuna has asked, in the same order Bhagavan is replying. He says, Aksharam Paramam Brahma, one that is imperishable, the changeless and the highest is the Brahma. Brahma is nothing but the Nirgun Nirakara Swarupa of the Lord. It says, which is eternal, which is imperishable, which is unmanifest, and this is Brahma. And then he says Adhyatma. What is Adhyatma? He says Adhyatma is Swabhava Adhyatmam Uchyate. So Atma, as it manifests in different bodies, different beings, he says, which is the Swasatta, that is the Swabhava here. So Brahma, which is perceived in each body as Atma, is Adhyatma. Bhuta Bhava Udbhava Kara Visarga Karma Sannita, the cause for birth and death of all beings, and the offerings of Tyaga as is done in Yagna is known as Karma. He says, so Aksharam Paramam Brahma is the highest form of Brahma. It is not the name and the form of Lord, but the nameless, formless Swarupa, the Nirgun Nirakar Swarupa, which is also called Brahma. When it is seen as Sarva Vyapaka, all pervading, but when it is seen as limited to a body, to a body, then it is called Adhyatma. And to know this, the spirit, this Tattva, is the Adhyatma Yatra, to know the Atma, and then to understand that Atma is nothing but the Brahma. It's one and the same, there is no difference. That is the ultimate knowledge that we need to get. And then he answers what is Adibhuta. He says all that is perishable that you see in this world, everything that is Anatma, which is changing, which is destructible, which is Adibhuta. Adidaiva is the first human, Brahmaji or Hiranyagarbha is the first human, that is Adidaiva, and Adiyagna is how Lord resides in all the bodies as Antaryami. That is how we can see the Lord as Adiyagna. And then finally the seventh question to the answer to the seventh question, which was Antakale, how I can be known. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. At the time of death, one who remembers me, Bhagavan says, while leaving his body, prayati, yah prayati, when he is leaving his or her body and who is going on the onward journey, samadbhavam yati nastya tatra sanshaya, will attain me only and will attain my bhava, madbhavam. There is no doubt about it. That is what Lord says. And then he says how it is possible. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram. Whatever they remember while they are leaving this body, tam tame vaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. They attain whatever they have always yearned in life. Essentially it means that whatever we do all our life is the same thing that we will remember at the end time of our life. If we are all completely obsessed with all the the worldly objects and the worldly possessions, then those are the things that we will remember at the time of passing away. If we are devoted to the Lord all the time throughout our life, then we will be able to remember the Lord when we are passing away. And what is the difference Lord is going to tell us? And that's why in the next shloka he says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha. That's why Arjuna, all the time, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu, all the time, he says two things. One, mam anusmara, remember me, contemplate on me, think of me. So that shows that you do some bhakti by remembering smarana of the Lord. And yuddhacha. Yuddhacha means Arjuna, because he is standing in the battlefield where the opponent army is there in front of him, Bhagavan tells him yuddhacha means fight. Arjun does not mean that he is telling all the jivas to do fighting while remembering the Lord. He is not telling us to fight, but he is trying to tell us to do all of our kartavya karma, our prescribed duties to the best of our abilities. That is what is the prescribed duty of Arjuna at this point of time in the battlefield of Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra. So he says, Mayyarpita manor buddhihi, surrender to me with your mind and intellect, mame vaishyasya sanshayam. So there is no doubt, asanshayam, there is no doubt about it that you will attain me, that if you surrender to me and remember me and do your prescribed duties. Arjuna must have thought that this looks like very difficult. Bhagavan, sarveshu kalesu, all the time I have to do my kartavya karma and all the time I have to remember the Lord. How is it possible? Isn't it very difficult, Lord? And Bhagavan gives the answer. He says, with abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanyagamina. Abhyasa, with the constant study of yoga. He says constant repetitive practice with your mind completely focused, na anyagamina chetasa, not going anywhere else. And constant meditation, anuchintayan, he says constantly meditating, param purusham divyam yati, you will attain the highest divine supreme Lord. That is what Bhagavan says. So essentially he tells him, Arjuna, practice makes a man perfect. You know that very well. That's how you have become a great archer, and that's how you have to become a great devotee also. With the study, with constant practice, then we can make a man. And where do we need to meditate? What do I need to understand as a Lord? Where do I need to think? That is what Bhagavan gives the answer. Kavim, all knower, the omniscient Lord. Puranam, the same ancient, the same tattva. Anushasitaram, is a Lord, Lordship, the ruler of this world. Anoho aniyam, is a sukshmat sukshmataram, is a sukshma se bhi sukshma, extremely subtle tattva. And says one who contemplates like this. Sarvasya dhataram, giver of the fruits of action, karma phala data of everyone. Achintya rupam, cannot be imagined by mind. Aditya varanam, effulgent like the sun. Tamasah parastat, which transcends the darkness. These are all the things that have been described in our Upanishads, how we can understand this, the tattva, the Lord, anusmaregya, one who contemplates like this. And then in the next shlokas, he talks about the journey of the yogi who are devoted to the Lord all throughout the time, all throughout their life. And those who have these yogic powers, they also have ichha mrityu. They can, whenever they desire, they can have mrityu. He says, prayana kale manasa chalena bhaktya yukto yoga balena chaiva, keeping the mind very steady at the time of death with devotion and with the strength, yoga balena with the yoga bala. He says, Ruvor madhye pranam aveshya samyaka, by steadying the life force in the center of the forehead, tam param purusham upaiti divyam, the yogi attains the highest in the divine supreme Lord. Yadaksharam veda vida vidanti vishanti yadyatayo vitaragaha, the one indestructible tattva which is described by Vedavit. Vedavit are the wise people, and the purified seekers, the yataya vitaragaha, those who try to attain vishanti, those who try to reach this by their efforts, and yadichanto brahmacharyam charanti, the ascetics desire by penance, tatte pradam sangrahayana pravashya. I shall tell you the divine provision in brief. That is what Lord tells Arjuna. He says that sarva dvarani sanyamya manorudhi nirudyacha, says controlling all the desires of the senses, indriya sanyama, steering your mind into the heart, vidhi mano nirudhi nirudyacha, mind control, shama dama. That is what Lord says. Murdhyan dhayatmana pranam, by steadying the life force in the brahmarandra, murdhanya chakra, astito yoga dharayam, and with the concentration of the yoga dharana, the mind of concentration of the mind, the yogi practices. And then he says, Omite kaksharam brahma, omkar sadhana, by repeating om all the time, one letter name of the Lord, vyavaran mam anusmaran, and contemplating on me along with the meaning of the om. One who lives this body, he also attains my highest self. So om not only signifies the saguna, paramatma, the three matras of the om, the a, u and the ma, on a universal basis signifies the three states of the stula, sukshma and the karana jagata. At an individual level of the jeev, it signifies the three states of our sthitis, the jagrat, swapna and the sushuptya avastha. And on the level of the sukshma abhimani devta, it resembles the three devtas, Vishwa, Tejas and Prajna. And amatra, the silence after these three matras, which is called the amatra, the silence that signifies the nirguna paramatma, and that transcends the material form into a formless nirguna paramatma. And that's why om is a complete universal understanding of the saguna as well as the nirguna paramatma, and it's a one letter name of the Lord, which is said before any prayer that we do. Om is already always said. And whether Bhagavan is easily attainable, this tattva is easily attainable or not, that is the answer that God gives here. He says, Ananya Cheta Satatam. For who? For the person who is constantly connected with me. Yomam Smarati Nityasha. With a one point focus, they connect to me. Ananya Chetaha. They always remember me. He says, Tasyaham Sulabha Partha. For them I am easily attainable. For the person who is Nitya Yuktasya Yogina, that yogi who has a very good self-control. So for this person I am easily attainable. Because earlier he says this is Durlabha, and now he says Tasyaham Sulabha Partha. For somebody it is very Durlabha because it's very difficult to understand the Lord. For some it is very easy, Sulabha. So it basically depends on the Adhikaritva of the person. Whether that person has undergone the sadhana, has the adequate level of Shuddhi, of the Antakarana, inner mind, only then, and he is the Yukta, is the Mana, Indriya, Sanyama already achieved or not. With this, it will be depend on whether this Adhyatmaka Yatra will be Sulabha, easy or difficult for that person. And then he says, what is the great benefit of obtaining this, understanding this Sulabha? If it is so easy, but the great benefit is Mamupetya Punarjanma Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. He says, one who attains me does not get a rebirth. And rebirth where? In this world. And he describes the world with two words, Dukkhalayam, which is this world is full of miseries. Whatever we see, some happiness, transient happiness out of our relations, our objects, our possessions, our comforts, it is all transient, it is all evanescent. He says, Ashashvatam, this is all constantly changing world, it is evanescent, it is very transient, it is illusionary. And he says, one who understands this, that Mahatma, there is a great person who attains the eternal fruit of liberation, Napnuvanti Mahatmana Sansiddhim Paramam Gatim, he attains the moksha, he is liberated from the sansara chakra. It says, what is temporary and what is permanent? He shows here that everything from this loka to the Brahma loka, Brahma Bhuvanan loka, from this loka, Paraloka to Brahma loka, everything he says, Punaravartino. Hey Arjuna, oh Arjuna, this is all temporary. Jiva has to go there and he has to come back. But Mamupetya tu Kaunteya. But Arjuna, understand that who attains me, Mamupetya, Punarjanmana Vidyate, there is no second birth, he is not reborn, he gets the moksha, he is liberated. So Brahma is only Nitya, that is only Satya. Jagata is Anitya, it is Mithya. And all the Paralokas, Lokas, Paraloka, Swargaloka, Brahmaloka, everything is temporary, he says. Only attaining the Lord, Supreme Divinity is a permanent, and there is no rebirth. And he describes again the Brahmaloka, and he describes the time. What is the time of the Srushti, the universe? He says 1000 yugas make Sahasra Yuga Paryantam, says make one day of Brahmaji. Similarly 1000 yugas make one night of Brahmaji, and similarly 1000 years of Brahmaji's life makes one age of the universe. So Srushti is very, very long, but even then finally it comes to an end. And those yogis, those who know this, they know the essence of the time. He says, and in the next shloka he says, everything becomes manifest from the unmanifest at the daytime of Brahmaji, Avyakta Advyakta Sarva Prabhavantya Haragame. And at the night time of Brahmaji, everything becomes unmanifest. Essentially, he's showing the Srushti Chakra, the Srushti Pralaya, Srushti Pralaya, what is happening. And this is all Anitya. And he says, even all beings are born and reborn again. When the night falls, all the beings are destroyed, and the daytime they are born again. And this happens avashya. The jiva is helpless under the control of the Maya, and this is the day, birth and the death on the individual level. This is the chakra that the jiva has to go through without his control. And then he shows the other side. He says parasma, tu. Tu means but, the other side, another side. The Nitya Tattva, the Paramatma, he says, Bhavonyo Vyakto Vyaktaha, Sanatana. You see the other side which is unmanifest. The unmanifest part is the Maya, which is also Avyakta. But Avyakta Vyaktaha, he says. Avyakta se bhi Avyakta jo. Sanatana, what is my eternal, my own self, which is Avyakta Bhava, my unmanifest nature, the Nirgun Tattva of the Prabhu or the Brahma. He says that divinity, even when all beings are destroyed, does not get destroyed, and that is the only Nitya Tattva. So this here is showing the clear differentiation between the Anitya and the Nitya Tattva. And then he shows again what is this Akshar Brahma Yoga. He says Avyakto Kshara Ityuktam Tamahu Paramam Gatim. That unmanifest eternal Tattva is nothing but imperishable one. That same Tattva is my final destination, that is my Paramagati. He says Yam Prapyana Nivartante Tadhama Paramam Mama, by attaining which one need not come back to earth, and that is my eternal abode. He says that is my Param Dhama, that is my Param Mama Paramam Dhama, that is my Param Gati also. So all these, Bhagavan says, that is Akshara Brahma, that imperishable eternal Tattva is my Param Dham and my Param Gati. And how can this be attained? He says Param Purusha Sapara Partha Bhaktya Labhya. It can only be attained by devotion. He says that supreme being, that supreme one, that indestructible eternal Brahma, in whom all the beings reside, Yena Sarvamidam Tatam, which is pervading everything that we see here, that can only be attained by Ananya Bhaktya Labhya. It can only be attained by one-pointed devotion to the Lord, by surrender bhava and ekatva bhava. And then he shows the two paths. He says from this shloka onwards, the north, the Uttar Gati and the Dakshin Gati, the Devayan and the Pitruyana. And he says this is the the Shanamasa Uttarayana Gati. He shows where there are the Devtas which are on this path who welcome this Jiva, and the other Gati shows is the Dakshinayan of Gati, where Yogi Prapya Nivarte, where people have to come back. Similarly shows there are two paths, the Shukla path and the Krishna path. One path is Anavrittin, that people don't need to come back, return back. The other path is Avrittin, where people have to return and come back. And then he says, Tasmat, after knowing these two paths, the yogis do not get deluded. They all the time. That's why Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Yoga Yukto Bhavarjuna is coming to the end of the Adhyaya. And finally in the last shloka, he calls for Lord Bhagavan, Shri Krishna calls for transcendence to all the jiva. He says, after knowing the answer to all these questions, whatever is worth doing, the punya phala karma, whatever seekers want to do, according to our shastras, they want to do punya karma, they want to study the scriptures, Veda, they want to do yagnas, they want to do tapa, pirans, dana, donations. All these after doing the yogi who crosses everything, transcends beyond this and attains the supreme board of my highest self, he says, And that is the thing that God wants us to do, and this is the call for transcendence. We come to the end of the 8th Adhyaya with this shloka. So now we start the summary of the 9th Adhyaya. 9th Adhyaya is the Raja Vidya Raja Guhya Yoga, and this starts with the Lord's, without Arjuna's question. The subjects are mainly devotion, knowledge. Raja Vidya, because it's Atma Gnana, it's the king of all knowledge. Raja Guhya, because it's a Guhya Gnana. And Yoga, because it's a way to connect with the divine as Karma, Bhakti and Gnana, which is the ultimate goal of the human existence. So the first shloka of the 9th Adhyaya, Bhagavan says, Idam tute guhya tamam pravakshyamanya suyave. The knowledge, this Atma Gnana, is an ultimate secret. It's the Guhya Tama Gnana. And I'm going to tell you in details because you are Anasuya. Anasuya means you don't envy. There's a good eligibility. It shows that you are not jealous of others, you are not envying, you don't see the dosha buddhi in others, guna, and that is your greatest virtue. That's why I'm going to tell you this. Gnanam Vijnana Sahitam. So not only Gnana but also along with Vijnana, so that it can help you assimilate in your life, it can become Atmasada. Yajgnatva Moksha Se Subhat. Once you know this, you shall be delivered from all that is Ashubha, that is inauspicious. Lord Krishna says here that you will be delivered. Second shloka says, Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Midam Uttamam. This is the king of all knowledge, is the best kept secret which makes one pious. Pratyaksha. It is the best of all because it can be realized directly. One can know our own self. Atma can be realized aparoksha. And it is dharmyam. It is related to dharma, shastra, righteousness. It is susukham, kartum, avyayam. It is easily attainable. It is eternal and it is changeless. Rajavidya, because it is the king of all knowledge, is the basis and the master of all knowledge, relieves us from all kinds of miseries, sorrows, shoka, dukkha, and it gives us the ultimate peace, satisfaction, trupti that we all desire all the time from this world. It is a Raja Guhya because it is best kept secret, everybody does not know it, because it is not an outer journey, we have to go deep inside us. From our Bahirmukta, we have to go inside us. And there is a need for a guru, scriptures, shastra, and the parampara is important to give this Atma Jnana. The next shloka, he says, what is the use or the importance of faith on this spiritual path? Ashraddha dana purusha dharmasyasya parantapa. Those who do not have faith in the scriptures, Guru cannot attend me, aprapya mam nivartante mrityu sansara vartmani. They cannot attend me because they keep rotating in this mortal world, they keep coming in again and going. Because first we have to accept, with faith we have to accept the presence of this kind of a Tattva, Brahma, Paramatma, and then we have to try and attend this. For this we need to have an open mind to search for the truth. And faith is needed in Guru, in our scriptures and in Gita Ji also. And then God shows how He is pervading everywhere, He is omnipresent. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. Everything is pervaded by me. When Ishavasya Upanishad starts with saying Ishavasyamidam sarvam, everything is pervaded by the Lord. And how is it pervaded? Why I can't see the Lord if He is everywhere? Because He says Avyakta Jagat Avyakta Murtina, my unmanifest form. This I am pervaded by my unmanifest form. He says Matsthani Sarva Bhutani. All beings are within me. He says Nachaham Teshva Avastitaha. I am not in them. He says, God, He says, I am behind all the names and forms. But in the next shloka, He says, Nacha Matstani Bhutani. He completely contradicts the earlier shlokas. Pashyame Yogamaishwaram. You see my glory. Arjuna, I am not in any of these beings. Bhuta Brunnocha Bhutasto Mamatma Bhuta Bhavanaha. I am the cause of the birth of all the beings. I sustain them. I am Bhuta Brunna. I am not in all these beings, he says. And this method of the process of Vedanta inquiry is called Adhyaropa Apavada. When the fourth shloka Lord says, Matsthani Sarva Bhutani, all beings are within me. It is called Adhyaropa because He's saying from a different perspective. He's saying from the Ishwar Swarupa, which is the Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karana. And then He says, Nacha Matsthani Bhutani, all beings are not in me. In the next shloka, which is completely looks like contradictory. But here the Lord is talking from His Akarta Atma Swarupa, where there is no attachment, there is no Sangha. And then even though He is the creator, there is no Sangha with the creation. That is called Apvada. So this is the way the Vedanta utilizes the Adhyaropa and Apvada to change our vision from the karta to the akarta, and his process is to remove the impurities of the jnana. And then God describes this by giving an example of Akasha and Vayu. He says, it describes the Asanga Adhishtana Atma Swarupa, Yatha Kasha Stito Dityam Vayu Sarvatra Go Mahan. Just as the abundant wind blows in the sky everywhere, it says, Tatha Sarvani Bhutani Matsthani Dhyupa Padaraya. Similarly, all the beings are within me. Firmly know that they are all within me, but there is no Sangha, there is no attachment between this Karta Akarta Swarupa. Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya Prakrutim Yanti Mami Kami. Says at the end of the universe, all beings dissolve into my Prakriti Maya Kalpakshaya Punasthani. At the beginning of the universe, they all again create. I create Visrujjam Aham. I create all these beings again and again, and he shows that this is how he creates the Sansara, Srushti, and then Utpatti, Pralaya. All this keeps on happening in the Brahma. That is what is described in. And then a question can come how a Nirguna Nirakara Brahma or Ishvara can create a Saguna Sakar Jagata or a Trigunatmika Jagata, and there is how the answer comes from the Lord himself. He says, Prakrutim Swama Vashtabhya. I take care of the Maya, I take help of the Maya which is under my control. He says, Visrujjami Puna Puna. I create this Srushti again and again with the help of this Maya which is under my control. Bhutagramam imam krutsnam avasham prakrute vashat. But the difference is that these living beings, all the jiva, they are avasha. They don't have control over this Maya. They are all working within the control of the Maya. And that is how we understand the Ishvara is Swatantra, he is independent, whereas the Jiva is Paratantra, he is always under the influence of the Maya. Nachamam tani karmani nibadnandi jananjaya. Though he says, I am doing all these actions, I create Srushti, I create the beings, I do all this, but he says, I don't get attached to all these nibadnanti jananjaya, I don't get attached to any of these. How is it possible? Arjuna may have asked, and Bhagavan says, Udasina vadasina asaktam teshu karmasu. Because I rise above all this, I am Udasina, I rise above all this, and I am completely asakta, I am completely unattached to all these actions of mine. And how is it possible? Because Bhagavan is in his Atma Swarupa, is in Akarta Swarupa, and that's how we can remain detached from all this. And the asakti that we all jivas have is one is in the karma, where we attach to the karma, the kartrutva part of the karma, where we feel that I am the doer, that I have done this, I can do this, and this ego, this pride inflates me. The second karma, the asakti happens when we receive the karma phala, and that is in the bhoga, what we receive, that we don't attach, we have a lot of obsession for this karma phala, and that also becomes asakti. And all these are the cause for raga dvesha, which causes us to live in this world of bondage. And then he says, how can I remain this udasina after creating the creation? He says, Maya dhakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. In my presence, I am the sakshi only. The Maya creates this entire world, which is the jada, chetana, comprising all this. And he says, hetu nanyena kaunteya jagat viparivartate. For this reason, everything keeps changing in this world because it is created from this Maya, which is and then the chetan behind the jad is also very, very important. But this is how the Prakriti creates. And he says, why people don't know me? My Nirgun real Swarupa avajananti mam mudam manushim tanu mashrutam. Again he says, those ignorant people, the Muda Purusha, they don't know me and believe that I am in ashritam, tanum ashritam, I am in this form, an incarnate form. He says, they don't know my real self. Param bhavama jananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. I am the Lord of all the beings. Bhagavan says, the root cause of Muda is Moha, and this is the central is Ajnana. And how does this Muda Purush behave in this world? He says, Moghasha, they have useless desires about the world that will give him happiness. They are very selfish in their action. Their knowledge is useless because it is all about Vishaya Sukha, and their proper thought, that Viveka is not there. Their behavior is also Rakshashin, rude and crude behavior, and they are involved in sensual pleasures like Asuri Vritti, and that is how they are surrender to the Maya, Moha, and this leads to Moha, and this causes the Bandhana, and this is what Lord tells that how Buddha Purush behaves. But he says the other part is the great people who have Viveka, who have Jignasa, those who have Shraddha. How these people, what do? They surrender to good values. They are Devim Prakrutim Ashritaha. They Bhajanya Anante Manaso. They worship me with a single pointed devotion. and this is how they know me. Priyatva Bhut Adi Avyayam. They know me as the eternal and the source of all beings. These are the people who are Mahatma. They are the great men. That is what Lord Krishna says. So we need to understand how there are different ways we can devote to the Lord with different forms. The Saguna Sakar Swarup, the incarnate form. And then we have to go towards the Ishvara Swarupa, and finally towards the Nirguna Swarupa to see the oneness between the Lord and us. And then Lord shows in the next shloka how we can devote to Him 6 ways: by chanting continuously, by performing efforts, yatanta, dradavatra, with a firm resolve to make Lord as the first priority and to keep discipline to reach our goal, surrendering to the Lord with a gratitude, and devoting to the Lord with a bhakti bhava, and nitya yukta, worshipping with a control over ourself. These are all the 6 ways that God describes satatam kirtayanto mam. And these are some other ways that how with a different understanding we can worship the divine, the devatas, and ekatvena, with an understanding of oneness with the Lord, prutaktvena, with an understanding that I and the Lord are different. There is some Veda Bhava, either a Swami and a Sevaka, or a Ansha and the Ansha of the Lord, or api anye bahuda Vishwato Mukham. Vishwato Mukham means either as a Brahmaji who is Vishwato Mukham, or as a Vishwarupa Swarupa, or as a Virata Swarupa. So these are all the, or as a Antaryami Swarupa. So these are all the ways that different people worship to the divine. And then in the next few shlokas, it describes again some of the vibhutis of the Lord, how we can see Him everywhere in this world. He says in this shloka that I can be seen in all the yagnas, in all the oblations, in all the aushadhi, in all the mantras, the chants, the ingredients of the mantra, of the Brahma, the fire, the Agni, and the obeisance that we offer in the Brahma, in the Yagna. I can see a similar shlok which was there in the 4th Adhyaya, Brahmarpanam Brahma Havihi. Similarly, Bhagavan says here that He is everywhere in all the Yagna Karma, we should see the Brahma. Similarly, in the next shloka He says, I am the father, Pita Hamasya Jagato Mata, and the mother. He is the eternal parents for all of us in all the lives. Because our different life, our mother, father keeps changing, but Bhagavan is the eternal father and mother for all of us. We are all God's children, and He says not only that I am Dhata, sustainer, and the grandfather, Pitamaha. I am the Vedas. In the Vedas I am the Pavitra Om, Omkara, and I am all the Vedas, He says. So we should try to see Lord in all the forms. In the next shloka introduces Himself with the 12 attributes. That He is the Gati of the Karma, He is the Bharta, the nurturer, He is the Prabhu, the Lord, He is the Sakshi, the observer, He is the home, the Nivasa, Sharanam, surrender place, Suruta, friend, birthplace and the dissolution place, Nidhanam, where He holds the karma, and He is the Bijam, the unmanifest seed, and Avyayam, He is the eternal unmanifest Lord. And that's how we should see the Lord everywhere in this world. And then He says, as the sun I give heat, as the rains I hold the water, and then I shower it as the rain. And then He says, Amrutam Chaiva Mrutyuscha, I represent all the immortality and the death. And I am the Sadasat, Sat and Asat, eternal, indestructible, and the illusionary, destructible world. I am everywhere. We should try to see Lord everywhere. That is what Lord says. And finally, then Lord describes the onward journey after death, having done the Vedic karmas described by the 3 Vedas, having done the yagnas, and having virtues, one attains the Indraloka or Brahmaloka or Swargaloka, and then they enjoy their Punya Masadhya because of the Punya in the Surendra Lokam, Divya, Deva Bhogan, all the sense pleasures, heavenly enjoyments which are enjoyed by the Devas. But after all these sense organ enjoyment in Swargaloka, He says, Shine Punye Martalokam Vishanti. After the virtues, the Punya come to an end. They are again reborn in this world, and there they have to indulge in all the non-selfish actions described in the Vedas, and then only those people who have a desire for these objects need to come again and again. So the selfish people continue this journey, but He says, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam, Ye Jana Paripasate, those who remember me with one-point devotion and worship me with understanding, and those who are always connected with me, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyam, I carry out their all their desires or achieving, protecting their possessions. Yoga Kshemam Vahamyam. It's a beautiful statement where yoga means to achieve something and Kshema means to protect what we have achieved. All these desires of our prosperity, welfare, Bhagavan says, I carry this, don't worry, I shall take care of all of this. You don't need to worry. You just do your best, you do your duty in the best possible way. Remember the Lord all the time, and then leave the rest, karma phala, to the Lord. And then he describes the difference between the Devta worship and the Ishwar worship. He says, and how unwise people do not get the real benefit from the Lord. And he is showing the difference between the worship of the Devta and the Ishwara in this shloka. And then he describes how we can worship the Lord Almighty. The Lord only wants patram pushpam phalam toyam. Only whatever we offer as a leaf, a flower, or fruit, or water, whatever we climb, but He only sees the love behind all these objects that we give Him. And then He says, I accept it gratefully. In the next shloka He says what He wants from us. He says, give me everything. Yat karoshi, whatever actions you do, whatever you eat, whatever you sacrifice in karma, whatever you donate, whatever you do as penance, O Arjuna, offer everything to me. He says, Yat karoshi yadajnashi, yat juhoshi dadasiyata, yat tapashvasi kaunteya, tat kurush madarpanam. He says, and whatever, if we offer everything to the Lord, what will we get in return? He says, you shall achieve the yoga of renunciation, and by liberation you shall achieve me. There is no question, there is no doubt about it. And that is how bhakti leads to freedom, moksha by this jnana. And Bhagavan then says that he is samoham, he does not take any sides, he is the same in all the beings. And even the suduracharo, the apichet suduracharo, one who has many vices, even if that person worships the Lord and then he becomes an ascetic, he becomes shipram bhavati dharmatma, he soon becomes a great person who is walking on the path of dharma, and he will achieve eternal bliss. Shashvat Shanti Vigachati. He says, so Arjun, Mami Partha Vyapashita, take my shelter in all the difficulties. Whoever people have difficulties like Stri, Vaishya, Shudra, all these people who have difficulties, even when they take my path, they achieve the eternal salvation. What to talk about people who are born in Brahmin caste and all Kshatriya kings? They will Mam Bhajasva, they will devote to me, take my shelter. And finally, comes to the end of the Adhyaya by saying the same thing that he said at the beginning of the Adhyaya, put your mind in me, man mana bhava, mad bhakta, become my devotee, Arjuna madhyaji, do all your yagna karma, mam namaskuru, surrender to me, and you shall attain me only. Arjuna, there is no question, there is no doubt about it. You shall know me as your own self, and you will become my God-loving mat parayana, you will become my God-loving devotee. With this we come to the end of the 9th Adhyaya of Sri Bhagavad Gita. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.